Blessings, one and all, and welcome to this episode of the Angel Scrolls Project. This is a bit of a special episode. It might be a little shorter than usual, and we're going to be talking about Dark August. Now, you may be asking, what the heck is Dark August? Did something happen this month that's dark or eerie or scary that we need to know about? Well, despite all the crazy things happening in the world, the answer to that question is no. Dark August is actually kind of a made up holiday that my family and I celebrate every year. And so I thought it would be fun. I did this once before on one of my older podcasts, and I wanted to do it again and maybe make it like a yearly thing that, hey, maybe it'll catch on out there one day. But Dark August is a time to think about, celebrate, and remember our loved ones who are no longer with us. Now, the tradition is that on Dark August, you have to eat an Italian combo sub. Now, if you don't like Italian combos, you could make spaghetti and meatballs. If you don't like spaghetti and meatballs, well, then feel free to get any kind of sandwich or pizza or whatever it is that floats your boat. But generally, the dinner is an Italian combo sub with oil, vinegar, and mayo, and tin roof sundae ice cream for dessert. Now, how did all this come about? What is this Dark August? What am I talking about here? Well, it all happened, if I may go back in time and tell this story. My mother passed away in 2012, and I was, very close to my mother. She was like one of the best people that I ever knew. She would give anybody her last dollar, the shirt off her back. Just a really good-hearted person. Now, back in the day, we had this tradition, me and my parents. My brother had moved to New Jersey at the time. But we had this tradition during the summer. So many times we would always eat Italian combo subs for dinner and have tin roof sundae for dessert. And after work, I would go to the video store right next to where I worked, and I would always rent a horror movie. So every night after dinner, after about a half hour of the evening news that my father wanted to watch, we would watch 2 episodes of Married with Children and whatever horror movie that I happened to bring home. And I remember this was the August of 1991. I went to this little convenience store that was up the road from where we lived. And this is where we usually got our Italian subs because they made awesome Italian sub sandwiches. And they also, at the time, started to rent out some movies. So I didn't really want to go into town, so I figured I'd just, go up to the convenience store, get the subs, get the ice cream, rent a movie. And everything was stripped. There was nothing there to rent that looked like it was worth a hill of beans. But there was this one movie called Dark August, and I looked at it and I said, I don't know about this, and I put it down, and I decided maybe I wasn't going to rent anything, but eventually I decided, it's like a 50-cent rental or something like that, so I'm going to take a chance. So I rented this movie, Dark August, and took it home, and we watched it, and it was low budget, a B movie. It was starring an actor. I think he was in Spinal Tap, and he was in some other things as well. But his name was J.J. Barry. And also an actress from back in the day named Kim Hunter. This was in '76, kind of like occult horror movie. It was cheesy as hell. And I remember when it ended, my father and I just kind of saying, well, that was kind of stupid. And my mother was like, "Oh, I liked it. I thought it was creepy." And we're like, "What? That you thought that was creepy?" But for some reason, there was something about that night. I remember, like after the movie, it was this hot, humid August day, and I rented this movie, Dark August, and there was this, after the movie, this massive thunderstorm and downpour that just brought in a cold front. But for some reason, after that, I always had this thing for years after. It's Dark August. August was always Dark August. That memory just stood out in my mind for some reason. And years later, when I met my wife, got married, and I told her about the Dark August memory, and I said, "Geez, I wonder if that movie is still out there." And you could only find it on VHS, and luckily I had a DVD burner, so I burned it to DVD. Now I have it on DVD, but also you can get it on digital. You can rent it on Apple TV, even on YouTube. YouTube movies, you can rent it. It's out there, and we came up with this thing. Let's every August around the mid or latter part of August, let's watch this movie as kind of an homage, of course, to my mother, but all of our past relatives. Let it be a time of reflection. And the funny thing is, years ago, I said, this is probably never going to happen, but I wonder if there's a Dark August movie poster out there somewhere. And I looked online, and lo and behold, there was one. And I ordered it. It was only like $20 the person wanted for it. And I asked the person, I said, "Where in the world did you get this most obscure movie poster of Dark August?" And he said, "I just got it at like a flea market somewhere and decided to put it on, eBay or whatever." But I probably have the last or one of the last remaining movie posters of Dark August in the world. And last Saturday of August, that's usually our designated time. We hang the poster in our living room. We put pictures of our loved ones and any little angels or religious articles. Kind of like a little altar or homage to those who have passed. And we sit, we talk. Once it gets to be about dusk, we talk about our past loved ones. We swap stories. We might do some kind of like little meditation or something like that. And sometimes we buy. It's like Christmas. We get like a little gift or something, like a necklace or incense, whatever. So it's like a little holiday that we do. But I think it's always a nice idea to remember our loved ones that are no longer here with us. The spirit world, a lot of people always think of heaven, being way out there. But, Christ said the kingdom of heaven is in our midst and that it's within us. So the kingdom of heaven or the spirit world is closer than we think. And I've always believed that our loved ones, when they die, they just don't go to heaven and they're separated from us and they're having the eternal party while we suffer along on planet Earth. No, I believe as, the ancient church believed, and the Catholic Church still believes this, but you hear a lot of Protestants go, "Oh, that's heresy, that's satanic." But it's not. It's a very early Christian belief that there is the church militant, which is us here on earth, and the church, what is it? The church ascended or something like that. Those who went to heaven, and they believe that our loved ones, still pray for us. They still have work to do. They're working with us. They're working with God, to bring about His purposes, in heaven and on earth. And of course, spiritualists, if you listen to my the show Journey into Spiritualism that I had, spiritualists believe that our loved ones are more interacting in our lives than we might think. And I kind of feel that they're onto something with that. There's a lot of reports of people getting visits from their loved ones, or just strangers that come out of nowhere and help somebody and disappear. And sometimes I think they're angels. Many times I think they're angels, and sometimes I think that they're people that have crossed over who are on assignment from God. They too are. They're not angels, but in a sense they are angels because they're messengers. They're coming into the earth realm with a mission or a message or to help someone in need. And so that's why I think remembering our loved ones, remembering the kingdom of heaven is, right in our midst. God and the angels and even our loved ones are just, for all we know, right there in front of us, but we can't perceive with the physical eye. And so this is, Dark August is not only a nice little fun, made-up holiday that we do, but it's also a time that is very spiritual, remembering, our loved ones, remembering where they are, remembering that very likely they could be right there in our midst with us as we're remembering them on this made-up holiday. And so when we do these kind of things, it raises our thoughts. It raises our personal spiritual vibration. And it just for that moment gives us that knowing that this world isn't all that there is. That there's more beyond all this. That we're never alone. Death is not the end. No matter what we face in this material world, in the end, 100 years from now, 1 year from now, 6 months from now, it's all going to be okay. God doesn't abandon any of us. From my experience, we are all so greatly loved by God and the angels that we can't even conceive of how great that love is. We can talk about it. We can put it in hymns. We can put it in sermons. We can give it lip service. Oh, God is love. But I don't think we really understand how deep and life-changing that love really is. And, I think when we sit and we remember our loved ones, we remember where they are, we remember who they're with. They're in the presence of God right now. They're in what we call heaven, paradise. And it's just an awesome reminder of perhaps where our focus should be in life, at least taking time every so often to pull our attention out of this materialistic world with all of its problems and place it on the higher thoughts that are spiritual. And so really that's what this Dark August is all about for me. It's to remember my loved ones who have passed, remember my mother, remember all the cheesy horror movies that we watched and all the Italian subs that we ate and all of the tin roof sundae, that my father used to say, oh my God, this is what we're having for dinner again. Hey, it's too hot to cook. Yeah, here you go. So it's fun to remember, but it's also awesome to remember, just to remember where our loved ones are, and remember that uh, the kingdom of heaven is right there in our midst. The kingdom of heaven is within us. It's within me, and I reflect on these things. And we usually have like a time of prayer or meditation or something of that nature. So I wanted to make this podcast and make it relatively short, just to say, coming up this weekend, August the 27th, it might be Sunday the 28th, depending, because there's some family things going on. But this weekend is Dark August weekend, and I thought it would just be fun to make a little podcast about it and invite all of you who are listening to watch the show with us. I'm naturally not in the same room, but we're all kind of joining together, watching the movie and remembering our loved ones, and maybe pass. If you enjoy it and you say, "Hey, that was kind of nice. That was fun. The movie was funny. It was cheesy," because there are some pretty award-winning, and I don't mean in a good way, scenes in this particular movie. But that's the fun of it. I'm the kind of person that likes to watch kind of a cheesy movie with some cheesy acting and cheesy lines. It's humorous, it definitely is. So, if you enjoy that sort of thing, you want to have kind of dedicate your evening to just remembering your loved ones, light a candle, put out a picture, put out a crucifix, hang something on your wall, a picture of a loved one, or, a religious or spiritual picture. Just remember your loved ones, think about them, talk about them, light the candle, meditate, pray, have the Italian sub, have the tin roof sundae or whatever it is you can find, or whatever kind of floats your boat. And then, after all that, probably around 7, 8 o'clock, watch the cheesy movie. And that, my friends, is kind of my present to you. I'm going to leave a link below in this podcast description of the movie, free on YouTube. So you don't have to go anywhere and rent it unless you want to. You could rent it and, see it in more, high definition. But if not, it's right there free on YouTube. I'll leave the link below. So you can just copy, paste, and watch 1976, J.J. Barrie and Kim Hunter, Dark August. And I did a podcast about this a few years ago, and I left the link. And there was actually some people that watched it, and they were like, "I thought that was kind of creepy." So maybe they saw something in it that my mother did, and I didn't, and I don't. But I love the movie for that sentimental value, It's just something, we watch every year, and I'll watch every year till the day that I'm no longer in this world, and, I'm passed over with my loved ones. And then maybe someone else will pick up the mantle and watch Dark August to remember me and my wife, when we were here on the earth. But the link will be below for the movie. I know sometimes here on the audio podcast settings like Anchor and, Apple, the links don't really show up where you can click on them or even, copy and paste them. So if you have a problem with that, just email me. My email is in the podcast description, where it tells you what this podcast is about. Angel Scrolls Project is a podcast that blah, 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 blah. My email is there. I'll put my email in the podcast, the episode description as well. So if you have issues copy and pasting or whatever, it's a pain in the neck, you want to watch the movie, just email me and say, "Hey, send me the Dark August link." I'll copy and paste it into an email where you can just click on it, and I'll send it out to you, so you don't have to go through any hassles. But I hope you'll join us in the made-up Dark August celebration. If you do, if you watch the movie, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you felt close to your loved ones. Let me know if you felt close to the angels or to God, or felt the kingdom of heaven in your midst while you're remembering your loved ones or praying, or, however you celebrate your loved ones in a spiritual way, over the weekend. Let me know if you thought the movie was ultra cheesy, if you actually thought it was a little creepy, like some people do. You can email me and let me know, or leave a comment below if you're watching on one of the video platforms of the podcast. But let me know if you indulge in this silly, made-up holiday. And hey, everyone, thanks for listening, and have a happy Dark August, and I'll see you soon. God bless.